Okay, welcome back a third time. I've got some homemade cinnamon bun sitting in front of me, and I'm going to be making one more meme J.Talbain deck for you to enjoy, I guess. I don't know, but I can't not make it. I have to make it, and you'll see why. It's really funny. It's terrible, but it's hilarious, and let's just get into it. But so this is the last meme for J Talbain Retro. This time we're building this off all, and this might be a combo that you're familiar with. So Dragon Cannon, this is going to be one of the keys to this meme. You're gonna It has the enhance on it. If this is your first attack this turn and your opponent's at Desperation, it gets plus X damage. X equals your opponent's Vitality minus 8, so 8 being the attack of the card. So it just pushes this attack directly to lethal. That's how that enhance works if your opponent's at Desperation. Um, we are running Reduction, which says when this card's in your card pool, your other attacks get +2/+2, and your opponent's considered to be at Desperation. So if we get Reduction in our card pool and we get Dragon Cannon played as our first attack, it not only gets +2/+2, putting it at a 7/10, we can then enhance and put our damage directly to whatever our opponent's Vitality is at currently. So it instantly makes it lethal. So we can power cycle it into our card pool after playing the Dragon Cannon. So we can Dragon Cannon and then power cycle, which says commit and flip to add a card from your discard pile to your card pool. It's just to force the reduction in, which is then going to pump the Dragon Cannon and give us all the stuff that we want. We are also running 4 copies of Sadist, which has first form, destroy your opponent's considered to be a desperation for the rest of this turn. So that is the gimmick. The gimmick is Dragon Cannon cancer kills. You just smash them in the face. However, we are running another package on top of that. We're not just a one-trick pony. Because we're running Reduction and because it just automatically gives +2/+2 to every attack that we play, we're also going to be running a Shoryu Repa mini loop in the deck as well. So alternatively, we are running Valiant Assault. I know, Valiant Assault these days. Just hear me out. Okay, it's a punch, combo punch. That lets us draw 2 cards. We're running Trinity Geyser because Geyser just wins games for free. Draw 3, next 3, ignore prog. Stun 2, it's a ranged punch, and it's a combo, right? We're running Shokin Grab because it is a throw punch, because throw punch, why not? So it being a throw punch lets us trigger J-Talbain to draw, right? Remember our tutor draw there. And then we have Shoryu Repo, which we can combo enhance to remove a kicker punch from our card pool. After the stack results, we're going to add it back to our hand. So there's some weird nuancy stuff that we can do here. So remember, we're running Power Cycle, which lets us add attacks into our card pool. We are also running Inner Voice. So after a kick, punch, or slam deals damage, attacks with that keyword get -2 difficulty. So if we hit with a Shokin Grab, we can then pitch the Inner Voice to reduce all of our punch by 2 difficulty, which means even if we're playing at 3rd in our card pool, Repa will come in at a 5 difficulty because it'll drop it down to 3, play 2 attacks, throw in the Repa, then we can hit that combo. So ideally what you can do is you can play Reduction. You open up with Reduction, having 1 momentum. You're going to play any other punch that you have, right? Doesn't matter which punch we're going to go into next. Or you could even open up Shokin Grab, and then you can power cycle a Reduction into your card pool. Because this is combo attack. Then you can play the Repa after triggering the Inner Voice on the Shokin Grab. This will get +2/+2 off of the Reduction. Then you can remove the Shokin Grab. If you have more power cycles, you can power cycle in more attacks. Alternatively, you can just let Repa go back into your hand, then play another punch if you want, and then go back into a Repa. It's funny. It's not great, but you're throwing 7/7 Repas at them. So every Repa push that you can do that way is great. Just going to be pushing out 7/7s on them. We are running Geyser. Geyser just does Geyser things. If you don't know what this does, it's attack, foundation, and then you play it as an attack after that. And you can just draw 3 and then play 3 more cards. If you find another Geyser in that time, you can just go foundation, Geyser, foundation, Geyser until they're dead. In that regard, we are running 1 copy of Champion of Southtown, which lets us add foundation from our discard pile to our card pool. We're running 2 copies of Season Guide, so we can chuck this thing in. After we play an attack, we can look at the top card if we need to draw it, or if we don't need to draw it. We are running 4 copies of Never a Day Without Training, so that we can draw that card if we need to draw that card. Never a Day Without Training obviously combos very well with Not Over Until You Die. Flip, add an attack card from your discard pile to the top of your deck so we can tutor any attack that we want in our weird combos. Put it on top, draw it with Never a Day Without Training, maybe draw it with J.Talbain, however we're going to do it. Get it into our hand. and continue doing combo nonsense. We are running energy charge in this deck so that after every time we trigger a combo, we're getting another +1/+1. It's also going to help us block and stay alive on the off turn because this deck is a weird, awkward combo deck, and we need all the help we can get. We're running Saw Blades because +2 speed on every one of our weird loop attacks, or on as many attacks as we're going to be vomiting out, is just great. It also lets us commit a card in our opponent's staging area, any card, so we can knock over characters if we need to. We're running 1 copy of Spell Circle because getting that 1 momentum is really key in this deck, either to fuel our Dragon Cannon so that we can tutor cards from our discard pile, or our Inner Voice so that we can reduce the difficulty of our punches for the turn. However we're going to do that, the extra momentum is pretty great. Additionally, we're running 2 copies of Let's Cut Loose. This is a card where we can pump it up or down depending on what we need. This is going to let us find foundations for our combo pieces again, or we can use it to tutor blocks. If we need to tutor blocks specifically again, we can grab an energy charge. So we can do fun things that way. We're running 1 copy of Ladies Man because we are running 1 copy of Champions of Southtown. So if you Southtown a Ladies Man into your card pool, anytime that your attack does damage, we can ready a foundation that we haven't readied yet. It's going to help us push out long strings. Again, it is great. Even if we get into staging area, we can destroy foundations to draw cards. So that's never a bad thing either when you're combining it with Seasoned Guide, right? So if we can keep seeing the top card of our deck, we have a means to draw it. Wandering Pirate, this is just pure value. It's just going to help us, again, push up long strings. It's going to help us defend on the off turn. It's just more resource. We talked about Inner Voice already, being able to play more punches. We're running 2 copies of Sense of Morals. Obviously, it's just stun hate or committal hate, and it also doesn't count towards progressive difficulty, so we can use that to set up geysers along with Seasoned Guide. So if we draw them ever on when we're pushing out long strings, we can just push these out without any risk to disrupting our card pool difficulty. We're running 2 copies of Perfect Accuracy. This is going to help us shut down defensive pieces in their staging area. So if they're running Caught Red-Handed that are going to negate our geyser draws, we can just shut them down with Perfect Accuracy. These things should be reserved for paving kill conditions. This deck is very aggressive and combo heavy, so this is just going to protect your combo loops whenever possible. That's what you're using that for. We're running 2 copies of I Feel Violent. So flip, this attack gets +1 speed for each attack and you're removed from game pile. So if we are running Repa Loops, so if we manage to get a soft Repa Loop going where we can remove a few attacks with it, even 2 or 3, then when we follow up with a Dragon Cannon push to try and just kill them, we can put speed on it with I Feel Violent, hopefully pushing out a kill. Especially here on the 2-ofs side of things, you can very easily push these up and down depending on how things go, and once the deck gets felt out, we can pull back some of these 4-ofs. If you're going to run this more seriously and not be like a big J.Talbain meme, you'd probably pull back Sadist a bit. Sadist is great though because once you do get your opponent to Desperation, you can just draw 2 cards off it and it stacks momentum right away. And again, I talked about momentum because you can Dragon Cannon or Inner Voice off of it. Inner Voice is one of those cards too where I want to push it up to 3 already, but this deck is already really tight for space, just because of the weird, because it's maximum engine at this moment to try and make sure that it does what it wants to do. So that's why there's tons of 4Xs, everything supporting singular cause, and everything supports that. There's not a lot of tech pieces unless the tech piece also supports that cause. We are running the 2 copies of Zealot Rush. I don't think I talked about this yet, at least not in this video. Zealot Rush just is going to help us ready our character with J.Talbain, so we can just chuck it into the card pool, or chuck it into our staging area. It clears itself, so we play it, it clears, we draw a card off of it, then the following turn we can use it to ready J.Talbain so that we can get 2 double card draw triggers off of it. That's the whole purpose of Zealot Rush. This isn't a pure throw thing, or it's not like pure throw, pure slam like the other 2 decks were. This one does have 2 range cards in it that don't match. So two copies of Zealot Rush is probably fine in this. And that's the whole thing. If we go over to like sideboard options or utility tech options, Kuga, the Yuri Chow upper, this card's great because first enhance, you can just knock a card over. So if you run into a deck that's a defensive deck that relies on their character, you can side these in and just open up with it and just knock their character over right away. Or if they have specific defensive pieces, like they have key assets that they're running 3 or 4 copies of to make sure that they get, you can use Yuri Cho to knock it over, do whatever you need. I talked about Breakfast in the other 2 videos. If you're running into 6 hand sizes, this card's just dirty because you just draw cards off playing it. It's the closest thing we have to Mourning the Lost right now. Seeing as Mourning the Lost is gone, Breakfast is really, really good too. Orphan Alchemist, if you're running into a situation where you need to protect your discard pile, so if they have anything that's going to disrupt that so that you can't do any of your discard tutoring, you throw these in so that you can prevent that. Living Pendulum, Obviously negates anything to do with speed or vitality stuff. It's a very interesting card, covers a lot of bases. It could easily be mainboarded at 1. It was mainboarded originally. I pulled it out because, again, I just want to make sure this deck is trying to kill people more so than trying to survive. Like, I don't care about surviving an extra turn. I care about killing my opponent a turn earlier. So making sure that those kills are more consistent is more important to me. This will come in niche situations when I know for sure it's going to give me that value. Otherwise, it could end up being dead, and I can't afford for that in this deck. It's also a 4-check, which is a little bit more risky, and I think I'm already running 4-checks with like Inner Voice, and I'm not sure. Oh, and Sadist is also 4-check, so I didn't want to overload on that. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that was being healthy. I'm also running 2-checks, obviously with Geyser in here. Geyser and Show Your Repa are both 2-checks, so it's already a pretty risky deck. So and then Nailed It, same thing. This card shuts down and hates on very specific decks and very specific things. So these things, that's why, because they were a little bit more narrow on what they affected and how they did it. So that's why I pulled them out of main board. Whereas all the rest of the stuff is fairly live no matter what. Sense of Morals being the exception. However, Stun being the most common effect, I think. Stun or Committal anyways being a very common effect in the game. Therefore, it's pretty safe running these. And also doing a 2-2 split on Sense of Morals Season Guide opens up the diversity, but then it opens up the diversity of effects that are available to me while still maintaining a similar function because they both don't count towards prog. So I can use them for Geyser stuffs and set those up without hurting my difficulty too much. So yeah, that's the primary reason it's there for. 1 copy of True Identity. I didn't talk about this, but it's just +1 of your control checks. What's not to like about that? And then everything else is straightforward. So this is the last J.Talbain meme. I don't know which of these 3 decks I'm going to run on the weekend. I'm going to run one of them just because, again, it's an homage to my old YouTube channel. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to push out one of these decks and see how good I can do with it. If I can get at least like halfway through, that'd be great. Should win half my games. That's the objective. So yeah, hopefully these videos get out before the weekend, and then you guys can give me some feedback of which one you think I should run. I might even post these up on my own just to see if I can get them out there. Yeah, so tune in next time. I'll be talking about something that's not retro or J.Talbain. Don't worry, there's some regular content coming out. But yeah, until next time, this was Toy. Wish me luck. I'll do a report after the retro event to talk about how well the Talbain did and if I regret running stuff or if I regret not running a different Talbain deck. But yeah, until next time, this was Toy. Oh, so good. It's just a crumbly mess, but oh, it's amazing. Whoa.